Hello there, my friends. Hi, my name is Natasha. I am the creator and the founder of the Glow Up Method, and I'm so freaking excited to be here with you today. My window is open, which I've never had done, but I'm actually really vibing with this fresh air. And let me tell you what a difference a day makes. Yesterday, I was depleted, exhausted. Like I felt like I had no color in my skin even. I felt just off and awful in some parts, but I was really grateful for what I could do, and I was really proud of myself to assess and be like, here I have some awareness, so here's what's going on. And it made getting up today that much sweeter. It made it that much more focused, and I was able to have a little bit more rest by not pushing my body an additional 6,000 steps and pushing my spirit an additional six. It's okay. So I got up early this morning. I went to back-to-back dance classes. The first one, my body was still quite sore in, but the second one is my favorite instructor, and he's only here so seldom, and it was a pop-up class. And there's just something so magical about like dance for me. And I will say this all the time, because the theme of today, like my thought of today, was that reminder of what I've talked about before. And this is a question I'm going to pose to you, is if you knew you only had 100 days left to live, how would you live it? Like, what would you do different? What things are you like complaining to your partner or your children or yourself or your coworkers or your friends about? Like, do those things even really matter at the end of the day? And if you are complaining about them and that's all you're doing, how are we changing it? How is complaining to somebody else about something that isn't even related to them even addressing the issue here? So like, my point here is there is no better time. There is no better moment. There's no perfect thing other than to change your life right now, to make this day one. Like, this realization of how vastly different yesterday was from today was, the way, I felt, the energy I had, the enthusiasm I had, my spirit of I had it, is such a reminder that in one day your life can totally change. My life totally changed. I feel so different than yesterday. I went out there and I was able to dance and connect with people, and I was able to, do an act of kindness for my instructor, and I met a new person and had an engaging conversation with them, and she was so kind as to say, like, I love your enthusiasm. I love the energy you brought. Like, you would be so much fun at these conventions. And she gave me this validation. And I say it all the time. I was telling my one son that about this interaction with this new lovely young lady. I don't want to divulge her name here, but she had this cute purple skirt on with glitter, and I loved her energy. She had pigtails with braids, and she's been a follower of this dance format since 2012, and she was just absolutely delightful. And I thought it was so sweet of her to acknowledge my existence, and that she was like, had something so nice to say to me. I thought was just so kind, and it was a reminder of all the things I feel inside, and how when I get out there on the dance floor, and when I get in here in front of this camera, and hopefully one day when I'm on a stage, or in your inbox all the time, I will continue to bring the real me, the authentic version of me, the part of me that connects to part of you, that like connects to that inner thing, that like asks this kind of crazy question, like, yeah, what if I only have 100 days left? Like, is this gonna matter? Is this gonna be something I am thinking about towards the end? Like, who are the people that matter? What is the energy I want to bring? What is the impact I want to leave on this earth? And so I think it's just so crucial to realize that we do have the power to change, because for so long I just thought that was my life. I thought my life was what it was. There was no changing it. This is just what I was born to do, and and what was me. And suddenly I was like, frick it, let's change. Let's do what I can control. I can control me. I can change me. That's the only thing I can. And then it was like, like all those things like you hear in your head, people don't change, people don't change, like people don't change. And I'm here to say, yes, they do. That is so wrong. People do change, but they just have to change if they want to. If change is facilitated by something else, there is resistance. And I'm not saying that change isn't possible, but if you have the right intentions and if you have the right motivations and the right calling on the inside to say something feels amiss, something feels off, you can change. If I can change, like nothing is magical about me except for I'm magical, of course, but like, no, seriously, like there's nothing different than me that I was able to do, and I am able to consistently make this commitment, because it just takes massive action. It takes massive action to have massive results. But here's the thing, the action doesn't need to be huge. It doesn't. You choosing to take an action, you making one small step is massive. It is going to change your life. It will. And I'm promising you that. That it will change. You will go back and look. And I can't tell you, I mean, perhaps if I went and looked in my readings and my writings, it will tell me the exact day my journey began. But there are days where it's shifted. It's not been exactly what it is today as it was even yesterday, right? Because yesterday I didn't do as much physical activity as I did, but I did nurture myself. I needed nurturing. My body needed nurturing, which meant my body needed listening to. And it was like, I can push myself to do more, but I really don't want to. I really don't feel the need. There is no magical trophy at the end of the day. I'm not going to rebound and gain back 120 pounds if I don't do this. Am I going to make it a habit? No, I'm not going to make it a habit, because I'm actually excited today. I have that same amount of steps left to do, and I'm excited to do it now. I was actually having a really good time listening to music, running, but then I had a webinar to listen to, and the webinar, again, I love learning from these free resources because they're abundant out there. And yes, maybe they want me to subscribe and join their $997 program, which I'm not going to do, but I love the process of learning and seeing how I can incorporate different strategies into my business that will help make me an even better content creator for you. And so I can connect with you better, and that I can leave this impact on your life and others' lives so that the world can be a little bit better place. Because again, it's about being kind. It's about sharing good energy. It's about being there and supporting somebody when they're having troubles and strife. But if there's so many of us uplifting one another, those troubles and strife, yes, they're challenges, but they don't cripple us. Again, I say this all the time. Of all the things that I can possibly think about with my son's brain tumor, if anything I can think about, if I think about the brain tumor, the next words that follow up are human kindness. Human kindness. It's not poor me. It's not poor him. It's not, why did this happen? Why him? Why our family? No, it's literally human kindness. That there was this massive amount of human kindness shown to us. It could have been from people we knew, we didn't know. It could be people just simply doing their job, processing the insurance paperwork to make sure we could get in for the MRI, or the scheduling person, or the actual person who was touching my son's brain or putting him to sleep, or there were so many people. The person that washed the bedding in which he was laying on so he didn't get an infection. Like, there's so many people along the road, and that's not even including the professional soccer teams that sent him a ball, or the team that helped sponsored him to go take a trip to England. It just so many things, or all the meals that were cooked. So when we were at home, we're not at home, we knew our family was fed, and then they would bring the food to the hospital, and in the hospital we would have this makeshift family dinner. And human kindness, the siblings, people made bracelets that had Russo Strong on them, like brought him a big cookie cake. I mean, just came and hung out with him, spent time playing Fortnite with him. And again, had it not been for his brain tumor, I don't know if I would have ever been accepting of video games. I was very strict about it. I was very, limited in the amount of time. I would be like 1 hour and this is all you can have in a day. So I don't even know, had it not been for that brain tumor, which again, when he was at home and no longer able to go to traditional school, he needed to be homeschooled. The online like Fortnite community and I think at that time they may have played FIFA, I don't know, but the games he were playing, he's playing with his friends. So it was this chance to be a kid, not a kid with a brain tumor, not a kid who just had brain surgery. It was just a chance for him to be a kid again and do the best he could. He couldn't always play because he had these massive headaches still, because I don't know, somebody cut into his brain and took something out of there, and there's a big old hole in there, and massive stitches all up in here. So, there was some healing going on, but it was great for hand-eye coordination, I thought, and using his words again, and building all these things that he had to like relearn how to use that had been having deficits, because somebody cut into his brain, right? So here it was, this thing. And then again, when it came time to like a couple months to a year, whatever, like later on when there was COVID, it was the same thing. There was the pandemic. And again, they were back to being isolated and at home, but yet they were playing all kinds of games, and they were able to function in this community at a time when they could have felt really isolated and alone. They had these extended options of connection and playing, and playing is like kid-like, right? I love games, but I'm not necessarily a video gamer, but I love games. Actually, I do know that like Tetris and Candy Crush, they had to come off my phone and Solitaire, because I could like get into it, and I was like, no, listen, I remember being like, kids, don't talk to me right now. I'm in the middle of the Candy Crush, and I was like, okay, like it's gotta go. If this is having this kind of effect where I'm like, don't talk to me, I'm doing Candy Crush, like, okay, I gotta go. It's gotta go. So I definitely had that tendency. So I obviously personally don't play. My son said if I did, I would need at least 6 to 8 hours a day. I don't have it. So, I'm gonna have to retire my EAFC career. I'm just gonna have to stay right now for now because he doesn't have a coach. I'm gonna be a coach. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna take my job pretty seriously here. I don't know what I'm gonna be coaching you, but I can do like the mental coaching, I could do, as far as gameplay goes, I'm not the one. I can tell you that this green button is on. We'll stick with that, but the rest, yeah. So I was like, if you don't get signed, just be prepared. Coach Mom is here. Momager is in the house, and we got this. This will be your year. And yeah, it's just interesting. But anyways, I digress. What would you do if you knew you only had 100 days left? Like, are you currently at the job, with the partner, with, the community that you live in? Are you where you would want to be? And if you're not, what can you do today to get you there, to get you to that person that is doing the things? And I think about that a lot because, like I said, for some reason, when my auntie was on hospice, and it just popped in my mind. And it was like, dang, because I could see, yeah, of course I'm praying and I'm hoping and doing all the different spiritual things. And, we had part of the thing, there was like a reverend, I think it was a reverend, I forgot what she was called, but she was amazing. We would do all kinds of different kinds of spiritual things. I was like, listen, we are non-denominational. We will take prayers from any form. Anybody who wants to send prayers, thoughts, good juju, good vibes, we are open to receive. We are equal opportunist when it comes to that. There is not like any prayer supersedes another. The more the merrier. Come on aboard. And I thought it was really a fascinating time because, gosh, I think she was called a reverend. I think I have her number still on my phone. Fascinating woman. She said I had a very beautiful aura, and I appreciated that. I don't know what the heck that means, but I'll take it. It sounds like I'm winning, on my spiritual realm. And I was like, man, if she could see me now, I would think she would have been blown away. If it was beautiful back then, because that girl was like, hidden and asleep and scared and nervous and unsure. And this girl now is like, bring on the world, whatever the heck. Like, there's no difference between me and you. You're a person, I'm a person. I'm a human who wants to be loved. You're a human that wants to be loved. I want to help people. I want people sometimes to help me, like, we're a team here. We're like, so she was a phenomenal woman, and we did some really interesting spiritual things. But, sitting there when you're seeing somebody, especially somebody as vibrant as my auntie, she was like, like I said here before, she was the Energizer bunny. I guess when she was a young woman, she got a diagnosis and was told she wouldn't live for more than 6 years. She went on to live like 50 something more years than what she had been originally told. So I think in some ways being told that, it was like she was filling in her whole lifetime as if I'm on borrowed time. I need to get this done. I need to get all these things. And she was one of the most helpful people. Frugal, but she would also still was very generous with what she had. She would reach out, find connections, find people to donate turkeys to give to other people. She really did have this sense of being, she loved the Native American culture. She really, really leaned on this sense of being a tribe and a unity. And, I'm a good farmer and you're a good chef. Like, let's trade services. She really was really about bartering and leveraging what other people had. Like, it wasn't like, I'm going to grow tomatoes and you're going to grow tomatoes across the street. It was like, you grow the peppers and I'll grow the tomatoes and I'll give you some of my tomatoes and you give me some of the peppers. And then my girlfriend down the street is going to grow the cucumbers and the zucchini. And then we're going to all trade. And, that was her style. And I loved it. So watching her now for the first time in my entire being, watch her sitting or laying or quiet, was a real humbling experience. How obviously, like we've talked about on here today, the power of a day, how one day can really change your life and how drastically it can be. I mean, I think about that young man all the time. I've talked about here, he is relearning his new normal. He left his home to a church camp on his own will, with his own, full use of his legs and arms. And, 2+ months later, he is in another state, and, everything that he knew physically has shifted significantly. And I think about this because my young son, he was really hoping to get cleared and play this weekend in Newport Beach. And I think about the young man last year at Newport Beach. They had lost a game, and, it was one of his first times back on the team. He had went and played for like this higher level MLS team. And he come back to the team, and it was great because it was just like a piece of home, like it was like that sibling that had went off and then had came back home, and, he had great energy, love his parents, like, great family, great energy he's such a dynamic player. He brings, a tenacity to the team, and the kids had lost a game. And I remember, my son was saying, that the kid had taken out his shin guards and he had started like hitting the bench, and someone was like, hey, like, calm down. And he was like, they like, it's not that deep. And then he was like banging the bench, and he was like, no, it is that deep. And, like, it was like, it kind of became a joke, like, to my son and I, like, he had told me it, and I was like, it's not that deep, we would kind of joke about, like, that in a thing, just because it was like it was just an unusual behavior for him. He is an intense player, but, like, I was like, okay, like, I wasn't expecting it, right? And I guess my son wasn't either, and the other kids weren't either. But in hindsight, maybe there was something in him that knew that perhaps that was his last time he'd ever be able to participate in that tournament. So perhaps for him, something that I found humorous and the other kids found humorous, and he was obviously very upset about, perhaps for him, there was something inside that was saying, no, this is that deep, because it was his last time. And I'm not saying he knew or he didn't know, but the irony has not been lost on me about it was that deep. And each day is so precious, and it isn't to be taken for granted. And really, crafting this life, designing a life that you're proud of, not the one that you should be living, not the one that you're supposed to be doing. I think back when I began my dance class, and I think about all this pressure I put on myself about trying so hard and getting it right or wrong, and starting to bring all this judgment and all this old thinking ways of me into this classroom. And I'm so grateful for the one day that I realized, what the hell? Like, no one is judging me. And if they are, if they have the time to watch him, watch me, and get the moves right, well then, blessings to you. Because I'm pretty quick, I'm pretty smart, and I can't do this. And especially as I got more confident in it, I mean, still to this day, I don't have time to watch anybody else. I am so trying to learn my own craft that unless you're in my eyesight, and even then I'm trying to look around you and find right where the teacher is, I don't see you. Maybe I turn and I'm like, oh, wow, those are really, and if anything I see, they're really cool moves. Like, I'm like, oh, dang, I really like how that person body rolled, or look at the arms, like, go, you know, or dang, you know, that lady is legit a grandma and she out here twerking better than me. Like, I'm like, props to you, you know? So like, if I do notice, it's to see the uniqueness and the beauty in what you're doing. And I'm like, dang, I aspire to be like that. Like, I need to be like working it a little harder over here. Like, get lower or whatever it is. I'm like, I got you on the side to side, but the back and forth, sometimes, I don't know. But maybe I need to be taking lessons from her. So like, you know, it's, if anything I notice, it's on the complimentary. I mean, one of my friends, I looked up, I'm like, oh, dang, she's got guns over there. Like, my goodness, those arms, like, she's tiny, but she's mighty. Like, nothing do I have any other criticisms for. And so I go in there thinking, I really hope that nobody has those same criticisms for me. And that helped me in the onset. And now, if they have criticisms, I simply don't care. Like, you can have them. Please don't share them with me if you must share them with somebody who doesn't share them with me either, because I don't care. And so the nicest thing is for the most part, as far as the feedback I get, everybody is very nice and very appreciative of the crazy energy I bring. That's what I was saying earlier, is I was telling my son I'm with this new person and she's like, oh, you are so much fun to watch. And I was like, listen, I may not always know the moves. I may not get the technical things about it right, but I will always, even when I'm exhausted, I will always bring the energy and enthusiasm. I will go die trying because, you know, I really like embrace this place where I could just be free and I can just be me, and me could be, you know, a beautiful, elegant dancer in my mind. I'm not looking at the mirror, so I can look like the Dancing with the stars. I can look like whatever in my mind, and I can be whoever. And as long as nobody tells me any the different, that's the way I leave class. That's the way I walk in, and that's the way I leave. So I have a great time, and it's really opened up my community, and it's just something I really, really look forward to and enjoy, as you can tell. And so I say this and I share this on the frequent because you may not be a dancer. I don't expect everybody to be a dancer. Hell, I wasn't a dancer 6 years ago. I would have been like, nope, that's not for me. It wasn't the right time or place, and I found it, and it found me at the exact same time. Your artistry, maybe in playing the piano or an instrument, or in singing or writing or reading or sitting and, you know, admiring nature or hiking or whatever it is. You have gifts, you have callings, you have something inside of you that allows that inner part of you to be free and to be your own version of you, and creative, and not judged and not critiqued. And again, I was talking about yesterday how as a child I was often alone, and you know, there were so many times I was alone walking home from school, or alone on a bus, alone, you know, making my Barbie mansion over here, or coloring in my coloring book, or doing chalk on the ground, and making hopscotch and blowing bubbles and on the swing. It was a very lonely existence, and I really did in some ways appreciate the alone, because it meant that I wasn't having to fix anything. So there was some relief in it. I was like, it was like, you know, there was a sense of relief in it. While I did want somebody with me, you know, I did crave for, you know, to have like not a partner, but like a partner, a teammate, a somebody, you know, a pal, somebody. And so when I did eventually in my lifetime find good friends, like my dear friend Lori and Debbie, there's certain friends, Tina, that came into my life, Val, like, and really just, they were like long lost sisters I never had. And they just made me feel like I was worthy, that I was likable, and you know, they just gave me this place to find the confidence and the fun in me, and that I had always kind of tried to hide away. Now, I was very motherly in a lot of ways to that group, you know, often being the one driving or picking everybody up or making sure everybody was okay or cleaning up the glass or, you know, these things. I think I had never wanted to be in the role of a mom, like, but then I found myself in it. So I thought, I was really good at it. So I at one point was like, yeah, I want to have six boys. You know, I don't want any girls. Had one girl, two kids I no longer had after that. The one girl, she gives me the greatest joys, but also some of the most toughest parenting experiences I've had. It's a challenge because, again, I haven't been in a family dynamic with another woman, and it's really a juggling act. So it's something new and foreign to me, but we, you know, I really think that we're in a great place. I adore her. I think she is so strong, and I don't know if she knows how strong she is. And I wish I could just give her, like, transport everything in my brain that I've especially learned over these last few years. But I wouldn't have learned it had it not been for all the other experience. But I just wish, like, can I just plop it all in her head, and that she could learn this all at the ripe age of 22. Oh my gosh, like, girl would be unstoppable. She already is. Like, she blows me away. And so I really just want to say this, is that, you know, spending time with my family, spending time with my kids, helping them, that is something I love doing. Yes, I do it sometimes at the cost of myself, and figuring out how to balance that out where I can still do the things for myself, yet still help them, is critical. So I think, again, going back into this time management and, you know, instead of getting carried away or distracted on different things, that if I continue to just hone in and schedule time for certain things, then I know my day won't get hijacked, and I still get this sense of I've taken care of myself and my needs, my business, my non-negotiables, and then I still have this time that can potentially be hijacked from, you know, my kids or, you know, some other form of distraction. And so, you know, I think for me personally, sometimes I let time get away. If I make a commitment to something, my 20,000 steps, if I make a commitment to filming, if I make a commitment to, you know, meditating, I will do those things. But if I don't consciously, like, schedule and make a commitment to things, those things become a one day, someday thing. And today is the day where I'm getting things done. Today is the day that I'm realizing I may only have 100 days left. I want to get these going. I would be so sad if I passed away and these were stuck, lost in a phone that nobody could get into and publish or know what I wanted to do with them. And so I'm so excited because we are a week and a day away from launch. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. So, you know, I think I'm really torn because I really want to help my son, as in I really want to do it for him. I really want a penguin project. If you remember my story about me doing my penguin project for my other son, I really want a penguin project the hell out of this. Like, I want to be like, get your YouTube going, get your Twitch going, like, get your TikTok going. And I keep hammering it on him because it's like, in a way, I'm hammering it to myself, but like nobody is saying it to me. So he'll try to say it. And I'm like, well, I have a launch date now. So, you know, like, now I'm like, okay, let's challenge this. And, you know, there's 3 of us content creators in this house. This is going to be crazy. Like, where did this happen? And my daughter's like, yeah, and I'm planning on joining abroad too. And I laugh because my youngest one, he is like the supreme consumer of all these medias. And I'm like, where's yours, buddy? He's like, yeah, no, I'm just a watcher. I'm like, you know, so I say all this to say, I today am living proof that one day can change your life in so many ways. If you think about who I was yesterday, how I showed up, all the things, I still showed up today. I still came. I have no regrets about my decisions about yesterday. I can be me today exactly as I am today, and I am defining what that means, and I hope that you are too, because what would you do if you only knew you had 100 days left to live? What small action can you take to ensure that you're getting to that place? So on day 100, you are living a life that you are proud of, that you are designing, that you want to live, that fits into your lifestyle. So I say all this to say thank you so much for tuning in today on this one day of yours. I hope that you are making today the best today you have ever had, because guess what? It's the only today you're going to ever have. So thank you so much. Please go out there today. Give somebody a big smile. Give them a compliment. And just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye. Still using